Hello and welcome back. My name's Sullosian and we are back in Starship EVO. So this is what I've been working on, as you all know. So I showed you a sort of basic hull outline in the last video of my Salvager ship, and this is what I've done so far. So I just want to show you where I'm going with it, and then I'll do one final video where I showcase the complete ship and do some stuff with it, like maybe some battle scenarios or other just, I don't know, showcase events. But I wanted to show you where I'm at so that way you can get a work in progress update, and so I could also show off some of the new in-game features that have been getting worked on by the developer in time for the early access release on Steam, which was delayed by a month. So this is the ship. I'll just do a sort of fly around. So I've got the bridge at the front, salvaging laser, a few windows, the number 1 airlock on the side here, SX05, so SX being Star X, and then this is ship number 5 of my creations. And then we've got the engines coming around the back. I took a suggestion to decrease the engine size. They were a bit too long, so I cut a few meters off the back there. We've got my shuttle up in the background there. Maneuvering thrusters. Engines are pretty plain and simple, but I think I wanted them that way. Just big, powerful engines that are capable of getting you somewhere relatively fast, but not too fancy, I guess. I suppose that's the way with most of my fleet. Nothing too fancy about the engines. Also because it is rumoured that eventually there might be thruster damage, so any blocks in the way of the thrusters might get damaged. So you don't really want to be covering up too much, like say with my scout ship in the distance over there. It's actually got slits over the engines to make it look a little bit fancier, but in future, if there is thruster damage, then you won't be able to have that really, unless you do some different thruster designs where you are actually placed more than one giant thruster block with designs over the top of the back of it, but rather multiple thrusters with the design in between the thruster blocks. I got SLVGR here, standing for Salvager. A little turret on the back there as well on the maneuvering pod. Airlock 4, airlock 3 there, which you could see. The observation deck, another maneuvering thruster. Crew quarter you can see in there. And then we'll do it over top. We've got the communications dish, a few little greebling areas where I had a little bit of fun. I'm pretty happy with the overall detail. I don't think I want to do too much more because it's fairly at the point where I want, but I still need to add decals and the actual I don't know, nuts and bolts sort of decorations. Lots of panels, some of them open up, you can actually go inside, and there could be things like generator blocks in there, or even hidden crawl spaces, so that way potentially you could smuggle stuff in this ship as well. That's the top of the ship, and then we'll go underneath quickly, and this is the underside. So I tried to go for a bit of an industrial, asymmetrical look. As you see here, like there's 2 vents here which look exposed. On this side, one of them's been covered up with a plate, and that's sort of the same thing around most of the place. Some pipes are different from others, so like this one here is a lot shorter. That one goes on a bit of a zigzag and it's connected to a different connection port on the engine bay. And there's airlock number 2 there, so we'll go over those later on, but that's the underside there. One main maneuvering thruster underneath for taking off, I guess you could say, but none on top and no other smaller ones. So it does have a relatively poor maneuvering ability for going up and down, or I don't know what sort of movement it's called, pitch I guess. Limited pitch ability, but anyway, that's the outside. If you want more of an overpass of that, then we'll just go around to the front again. Communications array there, the bridge, fairly large open design, and the big salvaging laser there. So we'll head on inside now. So we'll go in through airlock 1, which is the main cargo bay. We'll just come out of this mode, and we'll slow down our speed for walking inside. So this is the cargo bay. This will be a console area, still working on a lot of the logical stuff in the ship because there's just so much going on in this ship. We'll just close this door here. But this is the main cargo bay, so it's relatively large. Got a bit of a storage rack area there. Little storage room here. These was actually meant to have these anti-grav tools, so that way you could potentially in the future move cargo around in 0G or dislodge bits of hull that are outside that are in the way if you bringing more cargo inside your ship if you're in a 0G environment. So we've got this leads to the bridge and mess hall area, and this is airlock 2, so this is the main cargo lift. This button doesn't actually work yet, but the idea is that this is a sliding panel which will slide across. I don't know if this works. Oh yeah, it does. So a sliding panel, and then a lift will also take you down and be able to bring cargo up. So that's the main idea of this little cargo lift area. Close that. So the cargo bay, and just ignore these on the ceiling for now, we'll get to that in a minute. Moving on, this is also the locking system, so if it's red it's supposed to mean it's locked, or if it's green it's meant to be unlocked, I think. I may not have hooked this one up properly yet. I just hadn't updated the layer yet, sorry about that. So if it's green it means it's unlocked, but you can lock it from this side with flicking that switch, and then you can't do anything with the button from either side until you unlock it, like so. Moving on, this is main engineering, so you got a auxiliary reactor area there, a little tool workshop there, a gravity generator, switch to get to the ship core, main power breaker, main shield breaker, and main thrusters breaker, and then a slightly larger logic area. So for example, the weapons logic panel. It's a bit of a mess, but basically we've got 2 turrets on the side of the maneuvering pods, which I've got in place there, just little Gatling guns. We'll have 2 turrets on the underside, which are purple, 1 big green main weapon, and then you've got the orange salvaging laser, which is controlled from the bridge only. But because you can't actually control turrets with a monitor by entering a camera and also the turret core, I had to put some yokes in here for now until we get another option for that. So for example, I can control this back turret like so, and I can also just switch the settings on it to automatically fire, and for AI tracking with the spaceship targeting system. But anyway, so that's the logic racks, all fairly basic and large open area engineering, so you can bring lots of cargo in here for fixing stuff, or it could just be a little bit messy if being used a lot. But we'll keep on moving. Some various stuff on the shelf for the tool workshop area. And this is the airlock 3, so this one goes up to the surface. This one isn't quite set up at the moment, I'm still working on it, but bring that down, and then we'll press this, opens the top, brings the lift up, and here you are on the surface for maintenance on the top of the ship. Now, I haven't got gravity turned on here, but that's just a basic example of a mechanism which needs to be refined again. So that's that. Here's a little logic room, the communication room rather, for the data storage of information. Haven't done anything in here yet. And coming in here is the 4th airlock. So this is just a plain old airlock system, so that way you can dock to a station here, have a little room to change your spacesuit over, for example, and then come into the main ship. I'm going to hook this up for logic, so that way this door can't be opened if this one is, and then if you decide to close this door, then you can finally open this one, or if you open this door, this one will close itself automatically first, all that sort of stuff. Proper airlock system. That's why it's not done yet, because there's just so much logic to do across the whole ship. In here is the observation room and teleporter pad, so you'll be able to use these to teleport onto the ship, like so. And if you control this, you can control the satellite dish on top of the ship, which you can potentially use to target a ship that you want to teleport to, because it's been suggested by the developer at some point, I believe, that if you target a ship with the ship's targeting system, like when you're flying the ship and you target it, then that is how you'll be able to lock onto a ship that you want to teleport to. So presuming that's the case, I've got this teleportation dish sort of thing. And so that's that. Little lounge room, and that will be a console for scientific purposes, I guess. This is the shield room. Still not much going on in here. And here we have the first crew quarters. So 2 crew members per quarters. Got a little weight set up here, yoga mat, weights, orange sort of plant growth area, so they can grow their own sort of oranges, I guess you could say. Little laptop, coffee mug, beds, my poor attempt at shoes, lounge, and a TV with no service. I got that idea from someone else on the community, so shout out to him if he watches this. And then the bathroom, my attempt at some sinks, and a shower, and a sort of funky looking toilet with a bidet style cleansing, so that way you don't need toilet paper, because otherwise the ship will need to stock up on a lot of toilet paper. But you can also close the door from this side if you are in the bathroom, otherwise it just generally stays open. So that's the crew quarters, one of, and a decent view if I do say so. And automatic doors, by the way, if you haven't noticed. I'll go over that later on once we get into some more of these things that are on the ceiling. Other crew quarters, similar design. I try to make the rooms the same size roughly. Of course, the difference in design and everything can't really be helped, but overall it's very similar, not to make any special considerations for any of the crew members be known. So very similar. Of course, just slightly different layout. And also, you can lock these doors if you want some privacy in your bedroom, so then the automatic doesn't work. Like so. This will be a little station again for accessing ship information, so that way if you don't have time to run to the bridge or engineering or wherever, you can just access it from here. This is the captain's quarters. It's a little bit different. It's actually in some regards a bit smaller than some of the other rooms, mostly because it is still only one person that will be in this room, or if it's a captain with a wife, I guess 2 people. But you got TV, lounge, slightly bigger view, but a slightly more cramped bathroom in some regards, but more bench space with a bar of soap. And a smaller mirror. But slightly bigger shower, I think. But anyway, that's that. Still need a little bit more detail in these rooms. Bit plain and simple, but I'm not too sure what else to add, so if you've got any suggestions on that, I'd love to hear it. I'm thinking maybe I'll add some basic blast doors that cover some of the windows just in case, but not too sure. So anyway, moving on, we've got the mess hall and kitchen area. So this is the kitchen, mess hall area where people can sit down, eat some food, get together with friends, play some card games, I guess. This will be a pantry area, just some general food supplies. Big cooktop, oven, basic sink, lots of preparing area, some spice racks, and the range hood, of course. Still need a little bit more detail, like a fridge perhaps, and just some other things, but for the moment it's very basic and I think it does the job. And it's fairly open, so if you've got any idea of what to add here, maybe another island bench or something, I'm not really sure. Maybe a big esky for cold ones, crack open a cold one. Anyway, so this is, I'm thinking this will be a conference room almost, or maybe just a secondary cargo area for personal cargo. So you got the big view window here where you can see the station in the distance. Otherwise, just another sort of station will be just here, so you can look at more stuff like a secondary command bridge, just in case the main bridge which is through there gets destroyed. But that's the mess hall. Got a few skylights which I haven't shown you yet. There's one. Got 3 small ones. Of course, the ship is very thickly hulled, so that's about 3 meters or whatever there. So basically that means it's a little bit difficult to get windows which look decent. So that offers a lot of protection though, so I'm pretty happy with that. But anyway, this will be a data terminal, captain's logs, ship logs, everything like that, taking use of what I'm hoping will be an automatic system where you can just press a button and it will bring up a new screen which has a ship log, and then you can press another button, it will take it away, tuck it away, and then bring, say, the captain's log, and then you can get rid of that one, bring another one up, and it will bring, say, cargo manifest, etc. And similar with the going back into the cargo room here, similar to what will be in this room here with the cargo stuff. Anyway, this is the laser systems, so I've sort of worked on this one. So you can see the camera at the front of the ship on the laser. This is how you turn it on and off. That's to fire a pulse. You just press it once and it fires a pulse to the laser. Say you just want to fire 1 laser beam or however many that you decide to activate with this. And then say we power it up, go to the camera, and it will keep on firing as soon as it's recharged, like so. We'll turn that off, and if you want to toggle switch all of them, then that's what that button's for. But otherwise you can set it into basically AI mode, so that way when you target a ship and you're flying about, if you don't want to use it as your salvaging laser, you can use it as a main weapon, which is just what that there's for. But otherwise, not much else to it. We'll go to the bridge now. So some of the more important doors, like cargo doors and the bridge, don't have an automatic function. That's just so it can be a bit more secure. And it's not just people walking up to it, it is a matter of pressing a button. So there's no station there, but there will be. This is a shield station, and this is the main bridge. So 2 seats at the moment, otherwise we've got this here to see about the ship. And doing some weird hand gestures there. Anyway, so that's that. Of course the bridge is still in progress, so there will be more consoles and other stuff around. But that is that. I think that covers basically most of the ship, except for the rooms up the back here, in the middle rather, which I didn't go into. So this is censored. This is the security room. So we've got a weapons platform there, a lock on the door, and basically what this room is you'll be able to access all the cameras on the ship, as well as a weapon lockup. So I've got one here which I should be able to tuck away. Oh, that's rotated incorrectly. It's meant to fit right into those gaps, but it doesn't seem to want to do that at the moment. It is very glitchy still, this weapon system, but anyway, moving past that. So as you would have seen, there's been these volumetric sensors all over the ship. So if we have a look around now, you can see that there's ones in different rooms, basically all throughout the ship. So this is something I've been working on recently, which I just wanted to get out there, see what you thought about it. It is an internal sensors system, so it's very tedious and slow to set up. Oh, and here's the automatic sensor for the door that you can see. But basically, if I access this camera here, you can see internal sensors for the ship. So I don't have a mouse in this screen sadly, but if you look down to the eyeball, just down towards the bottom of the screen, you can see that there's actually a green light there, and that's because that's the room we're in. So the security room is the eyeball. And as you can see, there's labels all across this screen showing different sections of the ship. So we got above us is the medical room. Above that is corridors, so all the green squares are corridors. C1, C2 crew rooms, teleporter off to the right there, next to the observatory. 04, 03, 02, 01, etc. They are the airlocks. Shield room, orange is the cargo bay, mess hall, captain's quarters, and the bridge, etc. And the ship is the engineering section. So if we just exit that and put this away, and we come to this room here, if we enter this monitor, we can actually see that there is now a life sign inside the medical room. So it all leads to the same camera. You can check that by seeing that goes up over there. That goes up over there. But because of the volumetric sensors in each room, I'm able to track where someone is in the ship. So anyway, if we keep moving around, I've only got these 3 rooms set up at the moment because it's very tedious to set up the volumetric sensors in each room, attune them to the size of each room, and then just link them back and forth everywhere. But if you go into each one, you can see that I am now in the shield room, the security room, but there will be one in each section of the ship, so that way you can potentially track not so much the number of people in the ship, but at least where they are in the ship. So I thought internal sensors was a pretty cool idea and a pretty good use of these volumetric sensors. And I haven't seen anyone else do it yet, but I'm pretty happy with the thought of it. So now we're in this corridor. So I only hooked up these 3 for now, because as you can see, going out here, there are a lot of ones that I need to hook up. I put down one in each quadrant of the indicator lights, so that way I knew where they roughly had to be. One there, etc, etc. 3 in engineering. 1, 2, 3, and then 1's in each airlock, 4 in the cargo bay, etc. And if we go outside, you can roughly see some of them clipping through the ceiling there, just all around the ship. And then we've also got a security thing for the big laser. If someone's standing within that rectangle, it shouldn't fire the laser. There's a bypass lock on it. So that way, if one of your crew members is out by the ship that you're about to fire the laser into, if he's in here, then potentially the laser shouldn't fire and just completely disintegrate him. So just a little safety measure I put in there. But anyway, that's an idea with the volumetric sensors to do internal sensors. And I'll show you how I did that now. With the so basically all those monitors linked to this camera. And as you can see, there's no people in any of the rooms at the moment. But if I enter the camera, then you can see that's basically what it is. All it is indicator lights, color-coded, with some screens with text written in them. All from a matter of perspective. And that's just hidden in that panel there. But anyway, yep, that's how it's going so far, but we'll move past that. Head back into the ship quickly, and I'll have a look at the new weapons update with you. So if I put down a weapon, it's a bit glitchy at the moment. It shouldn't be off center like this, but there's that many bugs that it's hard to recreate some of them. And there's some other bugs where things moving around make the entire ship wobble. So I'm not sure if that's happening for other people yet, but it is for me. But anyway, we will try perhaps going outside and making a new one. See if we can get a better outcome. We'll get a starter block. Get rid of that. And grab an item stand. Oh, still not working with that. Alrighty, so basically what you do is you grab the handle, and handle comes flying around, and then you can just start building off it. So you need to make sure that your finger is sort of on the trigger when you're holding it, so you'd be holding it from this angle theoretically. And then say we grab a laser weapon. And we can add a range barrel, for example, if it lets me. Oh, doesn't seem to want to let me. Oh, that's a big one. Sorry, that's a large range barrel. There we are. That should work. And then we get rid of the range barrel. If we pick it up, should maybe not be able to fire it. It's probably too much heat. So that's when you'd need to get a, say, a small reactor. Maybe a capacitor. Go to that, and now we'll try. Nothing, nothing again. Alrighty, we will add a second handle to it. Basically, the handles, as you can see here, they dissipate the heat, they generate a little bit of power, and they also mean that you can make a two-handed weapon. So I can't remember which way to put the handle on. I think it's on the right-hand side, but we'll just chuck it on the left-hand side. Just there, for example. Oh, and we actually forgot to link them. Sorry, that's probably why it's not been firing. So you get the link tool and you link it to the main weapon, the handle. So we'll get rid of that now, and we'll pick that up, and now we can fire it like so. So if we fly over to our ship here, we can blow stuff up at last. Oh, there we are. And here's the one I made. It's a bit slower firing, but I think it does a lot more damage when it wants to fire. Anyway, yeah, so they're a little bit slow firing at the moment. I'm not really sure why. I think it's just because of the transfer of the game mechanics. But you can potentially put a Gatling barrel on it and it will fire a lot quicker, but that is basically how you use those. We'll get rid of the one we just made, and as you can see, it's in 0G, so it just sort of flew through the air. So you can actually drop weapons in game, which is a nice little touch. But we'll slow down and see if I can get one of these other ones to spawn in, so you can save them as blueprints, so that way you're not just building many and many of them. And for example, the orange Gatling gun I made, which is based off the demonstration that Suna gave us. So it's a little bit faster at firing, but of course it's not got the range it needs. But if we say, try some of the other ones that I built, just quickly, we'll get the red sniper. And we will fly over. So it's a little bit more accurate, this one, I think. And I want it to be. There we are. Of course, the one that I say is accurate doesn't actually fire straight away. I think you sometimes have to aim with the little laser I've got on it, other times you have to aim with the actual crosshair in the middle of your screen. So, crosshair, or if I aim with laser. Yeah, so sometimes you have to aim with the laser, but if it's far enough away, then aiming with the crosshair is usually better. But not all the time. But anyway, so that's basically what you need to do with the guns in game. You can just place a handle down, make sure you link it to the actual weapon to be able to fire it. But otherwise, that is just an update of how things are going. That's the ship so far. If you've got any suggestions or feedback on it, I'd love to hear it. And I think that's about it from me, so I'll see you in the next one.